Is your money mindset preventing you from building wealth with your startup? Limiting beliefs around money can hold back your growth and your business's growth. Well, our guest is sharing her decades worth of experience in helping business owners tap into their wealthy spirit and reduce financial success. Stay tuned for the Startup Life Show. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, startup coach to first-time founders. And, after raising 4 businesses of my own, I now help newly minted business owners sleep through the night by giving them peace of mind. That's right. A new business does not come with instructions. And thank you for investing in you and your business today by tuning into the Startup Life Show. Those of you watching the replay, be sure to click on the subscribe button right there. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest, Chellie Campbell. For over 30 years, this female founder has been hustling her way through economic booms and disasters. Don't you just love getting to see who it is first before we go live? She has been helping thousands of individuals implement systems and mindsets for financial abundance. And Chellie is the creator of the popular financial stress reduction workshop, now taught on Zoom and attended by people from all over the world. She is also the author of 2 of my favorite books right there in the screen, The Wealthy Spirit, I read this every morning, and 0 to Zillionaire, and several others like From Worry to Wealthy. And she contributed stories in Jack Canfield's books, You've Got to Read This Book, and Life Lessons from Chicken Soup for the Soul. Chellie was president of the LA chapter of National Association of Women Business Owners, and she was voted most inspirational speaker by Women in Management and Speaker of the Year by the Association of Women Entrepreneurs. And that's not all, folks. Chellie does a weekly Cheese and Crackers with Chellie Facebook live stream on Tuesdays and daily in her private group, the Wealthy Spirit Group. This female founder will make you smile and laugh out loud while you're learning from all her golden nuggets. Come on, let's give this fabulous female founder a really wild and warm welcome. Here she is, Chellie Campbell.
Thank you, Ande. That's so nice. When I was a young and up and coming business owner, I used to go to speeches and I'd see this laundry list of credits that people had. And I would go, oh, I don't know if I can ever do that. How did they do all that? Now I know it just means you're old. You hang around long enough, you're going to have a lot of credits.
It's the truth. I always tell you to some people, I go, look, I got shoes older than you. Yeah, I work with startup founders. It's so much fun. Hey, how is everyone doing today? Where are you hailing from? Pop that into the comment section so we can do a woohoo to you and where you're hanging. I'm here in Boston. Where are you hanging from, Chellie?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Ooh, so you've been hit with some extreme conditions, some fires, et cetera. Everything
happens
okay?
Every year.
Yeah.
It's like hurricanes happen every year. Tornadoes happen every year, as long as it doesn't happen to you.
Right.
Although last year I had to evacuate because there was a fire a mile from our house.
Ooh,
yeah, that was a little scary. We couldn't go home for a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was the middle of the night and the alarm says, get out now. So we're like grabbing things. I had surgery 2 days before that. I'm not supposed to lift anything or get out of bed. I'm slinging suitcases. This is where we're going. Let's go to the beach hotel,
Oh my gosh.
We hung out at the beach for a week.
Well, that nice side benefit from that. Hey, folks, I just want you to know we are streaming live right now on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, thanks to this amazing platform, StreamYard. I love this platform. And those of you tuning in live, look, This is a networking event, really. I mean, you might have been out back in the day, pre-COVID-19, at an event to hear someone like our wonderful guest, Chellie Campbell, speak. But now we have to go online and keep building our network, keep building our brand awareness. So please, share your URL. I'd love to connect with you. I know Chellie would love to connect with you, and others in the stream would love to connect with you. Let us know if you've got a startup, a new business, so I can bring it up on the screen and share it with everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and put ours into the chat area, so folks can connect with us on LinkedIn as well, because that's, that is the Chamber of Commerce for everybody. So let me
I just have to say, that connecting with people is so awesome. I just talked with a young lady yesterday, and she had come to watch one of my programs on Tuesdays, the Cheese and Crackers with Chellie. And so I connected with her and I said, hey, you want to talk? And so we talked, and she said, I've been following you for a while and I was reading one of your books, and I don't know if you remember this, but I wrote you a handwritten note about it. I said, you did? She said, yes, and you wrote me back. Now, this is what I want everybody to know when they're building a business. Write everybody back. Ooh. Everybody who connects with you, you reach out to them. When my first book was published and my publisher got me on the radio all over the place, all over the country, I asked for their contact information, and they said, what do you want that for? We booked you already. I said, I want to send a thank you note. And after every appearance, I sent a thank you note. And one man wrote me back, head of a radio station, had his own show. And he wrote me back and he said, I've been interviewing authors for the past year. You were the first one that sent me a thank you note. I will be talking about you and your book for a long time.
Oh, okay, everybody. That's the first of many golden nuggets you are going to hear today. Just saying. Okay, let's just say hi to Theodore Stump. Hi, Ted. How you doing? Yay. Hi. Always great to see Ted in here. And another favorite, Eric Cox. Thank you for bringing us dynamic guests today and every week. Oh, thank you, Eric. That's wonderful. So, Chellie, I saw you on a Wednesday. Our good friend Molly, the Prepared Performer. Everybody go check her out on Facebook. She gets you prepared to be amazing on the camera. That's her jam. And she had Chellie as a guest, and I went wild. And because while we're busy building our businesses, we need to also be building our mindset and making it strong. And we may think that we've got a lot of things nailed down, but we don't. And we can have beliefs that are not working for us coming from generations ago that have transferred in the family, or it could be a new belief due to a disaster in our lives. These things can get in our way, coupled with the fact, as founders, we need to know our numbers. And that's why Chellie is such a delicious combination of the mindset hacks we need to keep the abundance in and to keep the money flowing, but also to make sure that money works for us, that we are tracking it, and that we understand how it is used to leverage the growth of our business and not to fritter it away because you've got bad spending habits. So this is, this is one of the joys. And I bought her book, The Wealthy Spirit, immediately. It's about 2 or 3 pages per chapter with these great stories and great examples of how to keep that prosperity mindset going versus the scarcity mindset, along with really good business advice along the way, like you just heard her give around the write somebody back. Hey, I'm the owner of Satin Kiss. I help people lead healthy, happy sex lives. I'm happy to connect. Look, I had a business, Bring Back Desire, for years to help couples stay tuned in and turned on. This is an important part of our lives, intimacy. So thanks for sharing, and thanks for stopping by on LinkedIn. I love that. And thank you for keeping everybody healthy, physically and sexually, like that. Thank you. I don't know why LinkedIn isn't sharing your name. I'm so sorry. Okay. LinkedIn does that sometimes,
Oh, well.
So I'm always curious, and I love for folks to hear, how did one, you get started down this pathway of entrepreneurship. Yes, it was decades ago, but your story is so delicious because you started off in ways that most of us don't. So please share with everybody your origin story and how it went from, well, I'll let you say it.
Sure. Back in the day, I went to high school and college in the 60s. Okay. I graduated from college in 1970. I was a classmate of Michael Douglas. Yes, we did a show together. And yes, I have stories. So you can contact me about that. But all I wanted to do was sing and dance for a living and be an actress. So I did mostly musical comedies, and I had so much fun in high school and college. It was great. And then I came to Hollywood to be a star. Anybody recognize me? No, that didn't happen. One time I was speaking to a group of about 500 people, and a hand went at the back and said, I recognize you. I said, thanks, Mom. But I was a working actress. But what I found was that, in between acting jobs, you still got to make a living and pay your rent. So I would type because my mother said, oh, you want to be an actress? Learn to type, honey. That was sort of a depressing thought, but I kept myself body and soul, and then I would go off on auditions. But I got a gig out at Disneyland, 5 shows a day, 5 days a week for 9 months. I thought I would die of boredom. I did a production of Hello, Dolly with Martha Ray, and the lead guy had been doing 8 shows a week of Hello, Dolly for 3 years. I started rethinking my position because a long run in school was 3 weekends. This was like a grind, 5 shows a day, 5 days a week for 9 months. I thought I would die. And then I fell into a job that promoted me. And they said I could go on auditions if I needed to. And I went, well, that's a dream job for an actor. I don't have to pretend I'm sick. Okay. But then they promoted me after 5 months to office manager. And I said, well, but that's money and finance. And I don't know anything about that. They said, oh, well, you're a smart cookie. We'll teach you, learn it. This is a key point, everybody. Go for it. If somebody says, we're going to give you this job and you don't know how to do it, you never know how to do it until you do it. So don't spend all of this agonized time trying to get ready for that opportunity that it may not happen. Go, show up, and when an opportunity presents itself, say yes. So I said, well, I have a friend who says, when I'm about to take a risk, I consider the downside. If it's not death, I do it. That's sort of my rule. So I took this job and discovered I loved it and turned left and started becoming a financial person. Who knew?
And I got to tell you, the universe, as we've always heard Oprah say and others, has a bigger plan for you than you would ever imagine. And, and everybody who watches me knows that every one of my businesses showed up like a stray cat at the door. I never had any plans for them. And certainly Bring Back Desire was, oh, hell no, for 2 years until it was just clear I had to do it. I just want to say a quick hi. Adriana, how are you? So great to see you. Adriana's going to be joining us in a few weeks as well on the Startup Live show. And hey, now we know Taja Ricketts from Satin Kiss. Thank you so much. The people watching the replay would want to know. Thank you for networking on this live show. So there you were working in an office, acting on the side. What happened to then shift to the next level of your financial acuity and your quote career? It's really a journey in life, right?
Yeah, I had to make a decision at one point because I was offered the lead in Three Penny Opera at the Houston Alley Theater in Texas. And that was a really big credit. And I would really like to do that part. But then I'm going to have to leave this job that I have as office manager and handling the finances, because what I discovered was I loved it and I was talented at it. Who knew? And if I took the 3-month job in Texas, I was going to have to give this up. They wouldn't hold that position for me. So I'm sitting there going, am I going to be an actor in my life or am I going to be a finance person? And in that moment, here is another thing. I want to give you a nugget. Go for the thing that makes you happy. And you have to look at what are the parts that make you happy. And I had a dear friend who was also an actress and had her own business doing Amway. And I said, I'm really conflicted. How do I stop being an actor? And she said, well, what are the things that you really love about acting? And I said, well, I really love the applause and the acknowledgement and working with a great team of people and going to work every day and getting to go there every day and making money. She said, and what do you like about this job you have? Well, I'm working with a great team of people. I get to be creative in my work. I get to go there every day. I make a lot of money and I get a lot of acknowledgement. She goes, yeah, same list. And I went, go for the underlying value. Look at the value. So if you're not happy in your job, it's the wrong job. Quit, go get something else. If you don't like running your own business, maybe it's the wrong business. Look around. You can still be in charge. So that's the first thing. If you want to be in charge, if you want to create your day every day, if you have fun doing the work, like I teach financial stress reduction workshops now. I love it. I've been doing it for 30 years. I didn't want to do 5 shows a day for 9 months out at Disneyland, but I can teach this class for 30 years because it's interactive. I have small groups. It's not like standing on a stage like Tony Robbins done and preaching the same thing over and over. It's really intimate. And I just love it. It's what I always wanted to do. It's like rehearsal. That's what I loved about acting. I liked rehearsal, making it up.
I love that. So you ended up having your own business after you'd been promoted. Like, talk about that transition, because I love that story about how you transitioned out of being an office manager into running your own gig.
Well, the office manager thing, there was a big recession. I made advice of what they needed to do financially to pull back, and they didn't want to do it. I went, oh, they're going to go under. And so I thought, okay, what am I going to do next? Well, maybe I'd like to work on the other side of the camera. Maybe I'd want to be a script supervisor or a producer. So I thought the best way to figure that out would be to get a job working as an assistant to a producer. So I got one, and I worked for Scott Rudin. Look him up. He's been an article written about him in the New York Times about the world's worst boss, and it was him. He was really charming. He was really smart, and he was really talented, and I still appreciated him. And we got along, but he was a screamer and a yeller, and so was the other guy he was producing with at the time. So I lasted there for a while, and then I said, God is telling me show business is not for me. I'm out of here. And so I got another little piece of my program, which was I read a book about how to deal with difficult people called Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive by Harvey Mackay. And by the end of the book, I had thought, yeah, but why swim with sharks if you could swim with dolphins? You know, dolphins are friendly fish, and they look like they're smiling, and they're beautiful. They jump out of the water. They swim in schools and communicate. They're tough, too, and can ward off a shark attack and protect other fish in the sea. And sharks are just eating machines. You know, they got big teeth and better to eat you with, and they see the whole world as food. So I started thinking, I got to get out of here. Now, mind you, as I went through life, I started seeing not everybody was a shark or a dolphin, that there was another huge group of fish, tuna. These are the victims of the planet. They're just whining and complaining all the time, and they're swimming with sharks, getting eaten, and then going, why does this always happen to me? They're not taking any positive action.
Give me a thumbs up if you know those folks. You know some tunas in your life, people. And, you know, they're the ones that you keep giving advice to, and they never take it.
Never take it. Never. After you've been with a shark, you hurt. You've been wounded, okay? Ow, ow, ow. After you've been with a tuna, you got to go sleep for 3 hours. They just suck all the energy out of you.
But I love this, the fact that we can choose to who we want to hang with, who we want to have vibing around us. And this is in our inner circle as far as who we work with every day, or can it be our clients as well, Chellie?
Everybody. Only sharks in my reality. Okay. Only dolphins in my reality. All the sharks get axed right away. The tuna, if they want to change and they're willing to put forth the effort, then I put them in the, tuna training program. So I always say I'm a tuna in recovery myself.
Here we go. I love that. So you've been up, I talk about this, in the show notes about how you've roller coaster ride. Tell us about your first business and, how you were able to, go through that and come back out again, because we need evidence of what it's like to make bad decisions or to have things happen in life that shut down your business like a pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
How to come back and
stories.
Those stories, because I think they're important for founders to hear and be able to understand that, everything doesn't have to be that business and that business's success.
Right. Well, it's interesting because after the producer, then I said, oh, I really like that finance job. Let me find one. And there was an ad in the paper, bookkeeper, to run bookkeeping service. And so I showed up for that and I got hired. And I could see right away, if I just did bookkeeping myself, I was going nowhere. But if I could get clients, I could hire other bookkeepers to do the work. And then I could just do PR and schmooze with people at networking groups. And I really liked that part. So I did that. And at the end of the first year there, I had hired an additional 3 people. And the men who owned the business were attorneys, didn't work in it. They just needed good bookkeeping done. So they came to me and they said, Chellie, you act like an owner. We think you should be one. So here's 20% of the business.
First of all, who comes up to somebody and says, you act like an owner. Here's 20% of the business. God, love it.
I know, right? Well, the only reason it was making money was because of me, and they were so thrilled. And 20% of what the profit wasn't a lot right then. But I knew it was going to be big. That's when the entrepreneurial light bulb went on. Because, see, there were no women entrepreneurs when I was growing up. I picked acting because it was the most closest to a business owner I could see, that there was independence there.
It's a great entrepreneur because you get hired for each gig like you would as a service provider.
Yeah, just like the gig economy is same thing. You're on your own and you create your life and your work. So when they gave me 20%, I went, oh, new idea. Well, I like this and I can see potential and possibility. Okay, so I bought some additional percentage, and then in year 4, I bought them out.
Good. I love that.
Bought them out totally.
How long did you have the bookkeeping business?
I had it for 12 years.
Wow.
But after this year 4, it was 1988. And after I had bought them out and I owed them a lot of money because we were at $450,000 a year and I had 13 employees. So I made a deal to buy them out of the profits and everything. And then the biggest client we had left with 2 weeks notice. And it was 75% of the business.
Yeah. Folks, you've got to take that in. This is why you've got to keep your clients diversified. If you're depending on one big client, and you know this, but it can still be just so good. They're more than the bread and butter. 75% of your business is a lot. That's a hard lesson to learn. How long did you stay in business before you had to close it down, or how did you recover from that?
I didn't close it down. I will tell you what I did. I got smaller. I was immediately smaller, and I immediately went into a lot of debt because I was on the hook for the rent. That was $4,500. I had to fire like 10 people immediately. I was left with 3 and $100,000 in annual sales instead of $450,000. So I had debts and bills and everything else. And I just called everybody up and made deals. Like I called up my banker that I had make it my business to get to know personally and take to lunch a time or two. Okay. And I called him up. I said, hey, Mike, let me tell you what's happened here. I just lost my biggest client, and this loan I have with you, I can't make these payments. What can you do for me? And he said, let me get back to you. He called me an hour later and he said, okay, I rewrote your loan at a lower interest over a longer period of time. So your payments are only going to be $200 a month instead of $600 a month. Can you do it? I said, yes. So I made those deals all over town. And
okay.
Yeah.
Is this an okay point to segue in and just say, excuse me, do you see what Chellie has done? She asked, right? And, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of data out there, right, Chellie, about women not asking.
There's a whole book, Women Don't Ask. Get it and read it. It's amazing. And if you're a man listening to this, read it because you're going to understand women and money really well.
Yeah. So I love that you went around and you solved that problem by asking, by going around. Anybody else had to do that? Throw a high five or a comment into the comment threads, because that can be really scary. And sometimes you can be so paralyzed by the situation that you can't even begin to come up with a creative idea if you wanted to. So it sounds to me like you stepped back, you built good relationships with your vendors, and you were able to go, okay, here's the sitch. Here's the sit rep,
I didn't know what to do. I hadn't been to business school. I went to acting school. Okay. So I just knew all I could do was tell the truth. I went to my landlords and I said, let me tell you what's happened. And I told them the whole story. And I said, so this $4,500 a month lease, I can't make it. So either we can do something new or I'm going to have to go under. And they said, oh, no, we don't want you to go under. How much space do you need? How much can you afford? And we tore up that lease and wrote a new one for $800 a month for much smaller. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely terrific. And founders take that in, because that's another solution to when you're trying to keep your runway going, right? Yeah. And you need more runway to keep the business, to help it get to the next level, especially right now during the economic collapse that we're having, not just in the US, but worldwide.
Well, let me tell you the next piece.
Okay.
So I struggled along and I incurred a lot of debt. A fellow business owner gave me a book called How to Borrow $50,000 on Credit Cards. And I borrowed a lot of money because I needed working capital. And I thought, well, I'm going to get another $300,000 account. That was not happening. I got little $500, $1,000 accounts. So I'm always trying to pay the debt and get out of it. I tried to sell my condo. I had a 16% mortgage on my condo. I owed $160,000 on it, and they were selling units in my building for $90,000.
That must have been 1990, right?
It was 92, yeah.
92,
91, 92. It was a big recession.
Yep.
And I started going down. Now, this book he had given me, there was not a companion volume, How to Pay Off $50,000 borrowed at 19.8% interest. So, I did everything I could. And then I talked to my business attorney and I said, I'm drowning here. I can't pay my bills. I don't know what to do. And she said, well, you need to go talk to a bankruptcy attorney. I said, how can I do that? I'm a financial professional. I had started teaching my workshops in 1990.
Yeah.
And I did it because as I was working with people were in trouble and they said, I'm in trouble. How did you get out of trouble? And I said, well, here are some tools you're going to use. And I was explaining different things to my clients and they said, you should teach this. So I started, I wrote a flyer. It was a recession. I couldn't create a whole workshop and rent a hotel and then try and get people to come to it. I had to know it was going to make money. Right. So the first thing I did was I wrote the flyer and I mailed it out. Nobody responded, 0. Okay. Then I called people up. I took out the mailing list and I highlighted the names of the people I thought would take a class. And I called them up and I talked 12 people into it. That was the number of chairs I had at my conference room. So then I wrote the class.
Wow.
And the very first class was like magic. The people were awesome. They were like quitting jobs and getting better jobs. One woman quit her job, opened a business, and brought in checks to show by the end of class. I mean, they were awesome. One man found out that his employee was embezzling from him, fired her, recovered the money, and then, was saved. So just it was magical. And so I
Wow.
thought, oh, well, I'm going to do this again. And I just kept doing it on the side with the bookkeeping service. So now we get to 1993. I can't make it anymore. I go see the bankruptcy attorney, and he goes, Chellie, bankruptcy laws were written for people like you. You just got into a hole. It wasn't your fault, but you get to get out. We don't have debtor's prison anymore. So you get to get a clean slate and start over. I said, I'll take it because I don't know what else to do. There was lots more to the story, but in any case, I filed bankruptcy. I lost my home to foreclosure. Now here's the magic. I play poker. That's my hobby. And back in those days, I was playing in a little nickel-dime quarter game once a month with a group of girls. So I'm telling them my sad story of what's going on. So one of the girls looks up and says, so where are you going to live now? You're getting thrown out of your condo. I said, well, I have no idea yet. She goes, well, you ought to move in here with Chellie. And Chellie looked up from her cards and said, yeah, you can live with me. And I said, okay. Her house is a $2 million home in Brentwood, 2-story, 4-bedroom, 3 baths, decorated in autumn colors, my style, great, beautiful art on the wall. And I said, okay, how much rent do you want? She goes, how about $200 a month? God shot.
Here we go. Playing poker.
Yeah. I moved in. I never left. Yeah. I'm still there. Well, she's divorced. I'm divorced. We both dated for a while. We just kind of liked being buddies and living at home together.
It lowered your overhead. And again, you got into the lean machine mentality for that. And then what did you do? Did you start building your financial workshop? I mean,
yes. What I did was, I'm in class. A young couple is talking about filing bankruptcy. And I made a suggestion of some sort. And the man looks at me and he said, how would you know? You've never experienced anything like this. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's when I knew I had to tell the truth.
Yeah.
The truth works. Nugget. Truth works. I said, yeah, well, I filed bankruptcy 6 months ago. And the whole room went, and I said, well, let me tell you what happened. And I told them the story like you did. I got into trouble and, I didn't know the client was going to leave. And that's the way that happened. And I will tell you, they were so warm and wonderful. And thank you for sharing that with us. And people called me later. They came up to hug me after class. They called me later and said, thank you for sharing that because you just gave me permission to give up the shame that I've carried for 12 years from filing bankruptcy 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I get a chill every time I say that down my spine because I believe that this happened to me so that I could share with other people that you can still go on and be successful even though this happened to you. Just don't give up. Yeah. The walls are there, but walk around them, climb over them, dig under them, go through them somehow. The walls are there to stop the people that don't want it badly enough.
That's right, Kaveh. That is powerful. So powerful. Chellie understands the, how to break through it, but also you bring that deep empathy along with it. But, in your teachings and in your book, The Wealthy Spirit, there's always a way and there's always, tapping into what makes you happy and then finding the ability. And, this is one of the reasons I have the Startup Life live show, everybody, so that you can find ways to up your game as a founder while, you're dealing with high levels of uncertainty. And that's why, we need to focus not on scarcity, not on what can go wrong, but what can go right. And because when you're thinking about what can go right, then ideas start bubbling up. And as Chellie has mentioned several times, that's when the magic happens.
It does. And, I really felt guided about that. And that part of it was I needed to get rid of the bookkeeping service and just go full time as a coach, seminar leader, speaker, author. I hadn't started writing a book yet. I was still in the no, yeah, but, I've got the little no, yeah, but.
Oh my gosh, I need that button.
I know. I needed it too. That's why I invented it so I can pin it on myself. Because I was going, no, I
put that
can't.
up in the screen again, Chellie. Put that up in the screen again. See? Yeah, but you know what? That I was recording saying to one of my guests about a month or so ago, Whitney White, yeah, but because she told me that I had to let go of things on my to-do list that were low value. And I was like, yeah, but it was so funny.
People ask me time management skills. I say, you make a list of everything you're doing. Now make it a list in order of priority, cut off the bottom third and quit.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, what a wealthy spirit means. I mean, because there's a lot of, about abundance thrown around, and there's, the secret and all this other stuff. And you go about it with a much more practical way so that we can address our money disorders. The fact that our founders can bring their belief systems, generational and new, to their business, and it's going to interfere with their ability to step into their full potential, as well as their business's ability to step into their full potential. So please share with folks, what does it mean to have a wealthy spirit, and share some, affirmations and some advice that we could all use and put to work.
You betcha. Thank you. Okay, so there's two things. There's spiritual and there's material. I think that we're spiritual beings having a material existence, and that means we're supposed to master both of them. But what I saw was the wealthy people had no spirit and all the spiritual people were broke. What's wrong with that picture? So I knew that I needed to put the spiritual side in with the money. My work is nothing about saving for retirement. First, you got to make some money and have some profits, then you can save some money. If you're just grinding it out and spending everything you make, you can't do that. Now, I also say it's the law of attraction, not the law of abracadabra. Because the spiritual people always want to do the affirmations and nothing else. And the wealthy people don't want to touch the affirmations. They just want to work on budgeting. So I just say, look, you've got to do both things. Because how many affirmations would you have to say in front of a piano before you could play it? Right? And if you show up to take piano lessons and learn music and all of that, but in your head you're thinking, I'll never be able to play this, that isn't going to work either. So when I'm teaching people, I start from, you've got 60,000 thoughts in your head every day. 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday. There's not a whole lot of creative thinking going on in there. Okay, so 80% of those thoughts are usually negative. This is not everybody, but this is the studies they've done on the brain, how it works, and what the thoughts are. People are having neuro-linguistic programming gets into that. But I just noticed that I had all of those holdover ones, like money doesn't grow on trees, money is the root of all evil. And people go, no, it's the love of money is the root of all evil. I go, yeah, same thing. Money isn't going to love you if you don't love it back. You just want to hold it with a light touch because it's going to come and it's going to go. So when you've got it, hold on to it, and it's great. So say things like, people love to give me money. Something wonderful is happening to me today. I can feel it. All my affirmations happen in the perfect way for the highest good of all concerned. I'm now earning a great big income just for work I love. I'm now earning a great big income just because I'm me. Okay, there's all kinds of wonderful things you can say. All my clients praise me and pay me. Isn't that all you want from them? Oh, Chellie, you're so wonderful, and here's some money. Thank you. I want both things.
Well, you can be miserable in life or you can be happy in life.
Yes.
And when you say these affirmations, you're telling your brain, and this is, we had Nikhil on a few weeks ago. He talked about this being so important. He's the artificial intelligence, telemedicine, machine learning guy, okay? And he was very clear. The brain needs these messages in order to go find that and help create it and help you see that and help you feel that. I'm feeling an Andelicious moment coming on, everybody. Hold on. I just got a little something I have to share. Hold on. Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Here we go. I'm feeling it. Here's the scope. Your network is your net worth. And to raise your net worth, you have to raise your self-worth. Just saying. A little Andelicious moment, had to share that. It's so important. So saying these things is important to lift yourself up and your mindset up so that you can pursue. Because if you're constantly hitting yourself with a negative talk, the Henry Ford quote, whether you're I can't remember, whether you're wrong or you're right, or if you can't or you can, you're right, or whatever that is.
Whatever you think about yourself, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the truth.
You're absolutely nailed it on the head when you say it's all about your self-image and your self-confidence and your ability to think you're worth something. And you have to think like that. Yeah. I'm remembering a story. I read a book, Susan Strasberg, Lee Strasberg's daughter. When Marilyn Monroe was studying with Lee Strasberg, she actually lived with them, and Susan got to know her really well, and they were good buddies and hung out. So one day they're walking down the streets of New York, and Marilyn had sunglasses on and a scarf on her head or whatever. And Susan goes, I can't believe nobody's running up to you. Nobody's pointing at you and saying, oh, Marilyn Monroe. And Marilyn turned to her and said, oh, you want to see me be her? And she shifted and she changed and she started standing like this and walking like that. All of a sudden, everybody on the street went, oh, it's Marilyn Monroe. And they all came running over. It's an inner switch. You just turn it on. I recommend for those of us who aren't Marilyn Monroe, I want to have my switch on all the damn time. Okay. I just want to be me always. What you see is what you're getting. I don't try and pretend to be all that. For a while I didn't do Facebook Lives because I went, oh, everybody's so beautiful and so young and all that. I had all of those. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
I have all of those before I do anything. And then I went, yeah, and I am doing my class on Zoom now, and it's video, and this is marketing by video, and you've got to do it. So I went to take Molly Mahoney's class, The Prepared Performer, and started learning.
I love that.
I love it.
The other thing, too, that you mentioned, which I think is really important for anybody who's recovering from debt, is that you cannot every single month, right? You just focused on reducing that debt. You have to stay. Talk a little bit about that.
You have to have your eye on where you're going, not where you're afraid you're going. You have to have your goals put up, have a vision board. I learned them years ago and called it a treasure map, where I had all the things that I wanted on it. And, that just makes a difference, because then you're focusing on how am I going to get that? What's the next thing I need to do to have my book published? And take classes, man. You don't have to learn by yourself. I went to Molly Mahoney to learn Facebook Live. I wanted all the ins and outs and the secrets. I didn't want to try and struggle through learning by myself.
That's right. That's right.
And so I go to classes. I took a marketing class that made one of the biggest impressions on me, because he said two things. You want to attract the people you want and repel the people you don't want. What? I was raised to be a nice girl. I was never taught to repel anybody. But you don't want sharks and you don't want tuna. You got to do things and stand for what you believe in so clearly that the people that don't want go away. It doesn't mean they're bad or wrong. There's even dolphins, but they want a different pod than you. And that's perfectly appropriate.
That's right. That's hence the Andy-licious, guys. As you
Hmm.
know, you vibe with Andy-licious or you don't. And that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Perfect. So, other things that we can do both in our how we are structuring our business and how we look at our money and feel about our money as owners, how
Yes.
it's coming in and all of that, but also at the same time, what are some mindset hacks that we can continue to bring to our daily, getting up and being happy about what we're doing and still managing that level of uncertainty, especially for folks who are raising capital or trying to, get more clients or get more products sold. You can slip into some old paradigms around money.
Well, first of all, you have to read books and do affirmations and hang around with positive people. So you do affirmations, people love to give me money and it makes you happy. Now, you have to do it with intention. You can't, they're not like magic words. You do, people love to give me money. I'm so happy. No PE or about this. Okay. So you use it to work your energy up. And then a couple of things here. If you are waiting till you retire to be happy, forget that because you may not live that long. The most of who we hear from about money are all financial planners and stockbrokers and bankers. And they talk about retirement because then you're going to invest your money with them. And that's how they make a living. Nobody ever talks about just being happy right now.
Right.
But yeah, I think I want to be happy right now. I don't want to wait till I'm 80 because maybe I don't make it there. I was going to say 65, but I'm past that already.
And the best of role models, Chellie, for being vibrant and contributing. Folks, life does not end at 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. I remember Louise Hay saying, my eighth decade is my best decade ever.
Yes,
In
there was a man named Harvey Bernstein or Harry Bernstein, and he published his first book when he was 95. He'd been trying all of his life to get a publisher, and finally somebody picked it off the slush pile and said, I love this book, I want to publish you. And he got his first publisher when he was 95, and then he published 3 more books before he passed away at 101. And on his deathbed, he said, the 90s were the most productive years of my life. I want to live into that reality. Thank you
I
very
got to
much.
tell you, and of course, we know Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Colonel, was 65, getting his first Social Security check. And he looked at it and he said, well, this won't do. How
That's
am I going to
right.
make some extra money? 65 folks, never had a business before. He says, well, I got
Well, and let me tell you, all he had was a chicken recipe. And he went to all these restaurants to see who wanted to partner with him because he didn't have any money. And he got turned down by 1,000 restaurants and kept going. Okay, that's how I got a book publisher. I got turned down by a lot of people.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody said once, well, that must have been an advantage for you having acted because you got a lot of rejections. I said, I had never thought of it quite like that, but yes, absolutely. You get one commercial for every 30 auditions. That's just the statistic. And when you know it, then you don't hurt over the 29th no.
Hey, yeah, Charlie, I want to ask you a question because, for service providers, I hear this tossed around a lot. And what I love about your website at Chellie.com, very easy website for everybody to get to,
Mm-hmm.
you put it right out there, your fees right out there. So many
Yep.
coaches are like, struggle with this tactic, and experts struggle with this because they want to have that conversation and then negotiate the
Right.
fee.
They don't want to turn anybody off by the fee. You don't want in the sales process for the first conversation to be about the money.
Right.
And you know what? But I always know when I go to a coach and I look at I want to know how much it is because if it's $15,000, maybe that's not in my budget. But if it's $2,000, well, I could do that. So I want to know what I'm talking about. And so I just made the decision. This is who I am. This is what I charge. And if it's not for you, because I have low price stuff and then I have higher price stuff.
Right.
So the low price is $27 a month for the Wealthy Spirit Group, and the high price is 10,000. Oh, I think it's 9,500 now, but it was 10,000 for a long time. to become a financial stress reduction coach. And I train you how to teach my workshop and get clients and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. I'm a firm believer, folks. I don't know if anybody wants to leave a note in the comment how they feel about putting pricing up there, but for me, I want that to be off the table. I want it to be, are we a good fit? How much, how are we going to get this work done together? And at least everybody knows right then and there that this is what it's going to cost, for the Andeliciousness. And, we don't have to worry about that. And, and again, every time you bring an expert on board, you are saving time and you are saving money because you're not wasting both trying to figure it out yourself. You're going to get there faster. Just to find a little push there on that. Chellie, how you've shared a lot of your founder doubt moments with us, which is really important. But in the big picture, how has the founder journey? Oh, wait, let me put up my new thing here. Everybody check it out. Here comes the big founder journey advice. Ooh, this is a regular on the show. And I just want everybody to know that there is a journey that we all go through, and there's benefits and there's learnings. I think it was Cave that said either we're learning, mistakes, we're getting A for achievement or an L for learning. I thought that was so great, Cave, when you shared that on the show. And, how has this journey served you both personally and professionally?
Oh my gosh. When you live through some bad times and survive it, you just feel pretty good about your chances of surviving the next thing. So you might as well take the risk. Besides, it makes for a really interesting journey and a lot of fun stories, which I'm now telling all the time. I mean, The Wealthy Spirit is just a page a day for every day of the year with a story, an affirmation, and a quote. So I thought I was a genius with this idea until I'd written 100 and realized I had 265 more to do. I went to sleep every night. Please, God, send stories. But I've got to tell you, the whole ride has been a thrill and an adventure, sometimes high and wonderful and sometimes low and crying. One time I sat with a friend of mine and I said, I don't know, I pictured my life as this wonderful, shiny road, but then I kept getting off the road and I was just, why did I leave the road so many times? And she said, oh, Chellie, you never left the road. You were always on the road. You were just in the shitty part of it sometimes.
I love that.
Isn't that great? I loved it. I see, this is what's the benefit of having a lot of dolphin friends, because when you tell them some sob story, they're going to smack you one.
Oh, that's so great. It's so true. And when you have laid there at night, having your moments of doubt, what has helped you shift your mindset? Because folks watching, this journey, as thrilling and adventurous as it is and fulfilling, and you're tapping into parts of yourself you never knew you had, there's still going to be those moments when you're biting your nails at night and your stomach's clenching and your knees are shaking. How did you use your affirmations, et cetera, to bring yourself back into the flow of your founder journey?
There's something here that you have to want it bad. That picture that you have in front, that goal, and the process, the journey that you're having such a good time doing it, that nothing bad is going to kick you off the journey. You just renew your dedication and your commitment and your intention to have it. And I'll give you a really good example. When I was looking for a publisher for The Wealthy Spirit, I had one. Harper San Francisco, the parent company in New York was HarperCollins. They had a series of books, 365 Tao, 365 Goddess, and mine was going to be 365 Money. I was so proud. I was so happy. It was a major publisher. I told everybody in every network and every friend. And 4 days later, they canceled it. They canceled it because HarperCollins in New York had just signed another woman to write a page-a-day book about money, which had never been done before, by the way. Lots of page-a-day books, but not one about money. I got that news and I was destroyed because this had been like a 2-year process of writing and reading and talking to publishers, getting rejected. And I finally got a major publisher. And now it was taken away. And I was embarrassed. I had told everybody about it. I went to bed I drank a lot of hot tea. I ate cookies, chocolate, and I turned the electric blanket up to mother, and I went to sleep. And when I got up in the morning, my intention and my commitment kicked in. And I said, well, I don't know who that woman is, but she ain't writing my book, because my book is my stories and my ideas. And she doesn't have that. I don't know what she's got, but you know what? There's plenty of books written in the same format by a lot of different people. This just proves there's a market for it. And there's 6,000 publishers out there, and I am going to get me one. And so I did.
I got to tell you, she is the poster goddess for Seth Godin's famous quote. Sure, it's been done before, but not by you and not for us. That is
I love that.
brilliant. Brilliant. You really have to reaffirm your intention as a founder and tap into that why, into your North Star, to help move you through the really difficult times. Even if you are having to close down due to COVID, please know there's another wonderful business waiting for you around the corner. You were meant to be a founder. You're going to be fine. Any last words, Chellie, before we end our show together?
I just thought as you were talking that I saw a sign on Facebook, a little meme, and it said, please remember that you have survived 100% of the problems you've encountered in life. Isn't that good?
That is,
I mean, we're survivors and thrivers. And if you've ever made money before, you're going to make it again. And if you've never made it before, time's a wasting and you're going to make it now. But meanwhile, you'll have stories and you can write a book. Hey.
I love that. Something fierce. Thank you so much for joining us today, Chellie. I loved every minute with you. You always bring did you know it's International Smile Day? And I've had mine going.
Is it?
Yeah, I've had mine going.
You make me smile. You have the best smile and the best energy. You're such a dolphin. I am so glad we met and know each other.
Thank you. And everybody I'll have all the links to Chellie and how you can join her Facebook group, how you can buy her books. Everything are in the show notes. I've been popping them into the comments for the live viewers as well. Thank you, Chellie. And viewers, I got to tell you, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm genuinely grateful for your time and your energy. I can feel you and your commitment to your startup. Archive viewers, hi, I'm thrilled you're here too. And if you have any questions for either me or for Chellie, email us. You've seen our emails and they're in the show notes as well, or pop them into the comment section. We will get right back to you. And again, for those watching the recording and you're still here, you're amazing. Please hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you're alerted whenever I post a new video. Now, founders, I feel so strongly about this. Please do not try to do this journey alone. There's wonderful ways that, you and I can work together. I offer all kinds of programs, 2-hour startup strategy sessions and funding strategy sessions and on-demand founder support, monthly founder support, and my favorite thing to do, pitch deck reviews. Because if you're raising money, why not get someone to review it? I've raised millions in venture capital, thousands in angel money, and I co-host a monthly pitch event here in Boston. I know what your pitch deck needs to have for you to get a successful outcome. Book that 15-minute session with me. The link is in the show notes, and let's have a conversation. I'd love to learn more about you and your business. Until next time, viewers, stay strong, stay focused, and remember, I believe in you, you believe in you, and remember that you've got this. Cheers, everyone. Mwah, mwah, mwah.